Ravens fans, round one of NFL free agency is over, and I do say the Ravens have some winning scores, but I want to talk about it with you guys. We're going to grade all the moves the Ravens made in the first round of free agents. So shout out to the over 4,000 Ravens fans kicking with us in the Ravens space. Subscribe if you haven't and become a member. It really does help us grow. Move one, the Ravens signed wide receiver Deandre Hopkins to a 1-year, $5 million deal. This gets a B for me. I give it a B because the thing that Deandre Hopkins can bring to this team is red zone threat and red zone presence that the Ravens have not yet had under Lamar Jackson. We haven't had a big catch radius receiver on the outside yet for Lamar Jackson to play with and to really help build that red zone offense against. We were great in the red zone last year, but again, having that receiver does provide something to the offense. The contract is a great contract. So again, 1 year, $5 million. It's a throwaway contract, a why not contract. And I'm sure that the money is not guaranteed. So if it doesn't work out, they can let him go. All great things from Eric DeCosta there. Now, do I think this is going to change the Ravens? No. And that's why I gave it a B, because it does add value on a great contract, right? If this added value and the contract was bad, I would give it a, but it does add great value in the red zone. I don't think a lot of value everywhere else, but with Deandre Hopkins on the field and a 3-receiver set, you at least got to play him straight up and play him fair. Again, I do think he's a third to second receiver in the league, so I'm not going to give it anything higher. I also think he provides insurance for if one of our receivers goes down. A big reason our offense started off slow in the game against the Bills is because we didn't have Zay Flowers. And so when you only have one receiver that can provide pressure, then you lose something. Having DeAndre Hopkins helps you always have at least 2 receivers who can make plays in times of need, can make that one play. DeAndre Hopkins can still make that one play. He may not be able to make plays all game long, but he can make that one play. The issue the Ravens had was not that Rashad Bateman couldn't become a number one in certain situations, like injuries. The issue is that we had no one who can go from 3 to 2. So that is what I do think DeAndre Hopkins can do, which will help out the Ravens, which all adds to why I gave it a B. Now, what does this mean for the future of the Ravens? I do think it means that we are going to try again to experiment with using 3 receiver, 1 tight end sets more and more. I do think we believe that we can get the most out of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson if the box is not as loaded as it always is. If it is loaded, then now we have 3 receivers who can make impacts instead of only 2. And we still always have an impact tight end on the field. I do think we're going to try it again. We tried it with Odell Beckham. It didn't really work out because one, Zay Flowers was a rookie, and our other receivers weren't as mature. Rashad Bateman is ready to be a number 2 in this league for sure. Zay Flowers is a number 1 for sure. So let's get DeAndre Hopkins and try this thing again and see what we can do with that 3 receiver set. And I really do think that we're going to see some offense that we haven't seen in Baltimore in a couple of years. Now, the next one is Ronnie Stanley, re-signed, 3 years, $60 million. I give this an A. This is the most pivotal move that we will make this offseason, regardless of who we sign. We lost Patrick McCary, which is not only our inside guard, but he's also a person that is an injury filler for all the positions on the field. So what do we need? Someone who's reliable. Someone who we can just say, Ronnie, go get the job done. We're going to have more young people on the line. We did to you last year. We're going to do it again. You have 3 years. Teach these kids up. Play good. Get your $60 million and get on out of here. And I think that is what's about to happen. So I give it an A because if we do not have Ronnie, this would have been a disastrous offseason for the Ravens. We have been taking a step back in the offensive line, and this kind of helped quell those issues. What does it mean for the future? It means that we're going to go get a new tackle in 3 years to develop these young tackles that we have on our roster without throwing them into the fire. And so I do think this was a great move. We've all been talking about it. Ronnie Stanley was looked at as the best tackle in the league free agency this year. And so us getting him at a pretty good price, his contract is not above other contracts for the tackles. It's just right on the money, a little bit under, a little bit over. So I think Eric DeCosta did a great job here and give it an A for this signing. And I would give it an A+ if I was doing plus. Re-signing Patrick Ricard. I give this one here a C. And the only reason I do is because it's only 1 year. I don't know what this means. Does this mean that the Ravens are going to go in a new direction with this team where we're not so power run focused? I like Patrick Ricard. I think he's a unicorn in this league, and I would sign him for a longer term. But the Ravens are seeing something I'm not seeing. I don't know if they think he has injury history. He is 30 years old. Fullbacks usually play longer, so I was expecting a 2 to 3 year contract, 2 at the least, but the 1 year contract tells me that we are going to try to push this in a little bit of a different direction, a direction that says, hey, Lamar, let's open it up for you and let you do your thing. We're still going to be able to power run it because we have Derrick Henry, and I'm sure we can go get a young fullback who doesn't, take the money that a Patrick Ricard does. And we are the Ravens, so we feel we can train these guys up. But I was surprised by it. Give it a C because I think Ricard does make us special in many ways. But I think the Ravens are ready to move on, not only from Ricard in the future, but from the overall style that Patrick Ricard brings to this team. A lot of players also left that we'll talk about. I don't think these players are going to be make or break players. So I'm going to overall give an A to the players that left because I think there were some good decisions that we made for these players that left. You guys may know Brandon Stevens has left and signed with the Jets. Get rid of him. It's not good for this team. We gave it a try, letting him go, not doing any matching, not trying. It works for us, and I think we became better for it. The Steelers, once again, signed some of our dead weight at the middle linebacker position. Great, let them go. It wasn't good for the Ravens, in my opinion, and I'm happy that we're going to move on there. Hopefully, some of the young linebackers can step up and fill that spot. And then the Ravens are going to cut Marcus Williams, and they also going to cut Arthur Millette. The Arthur Millette one makes me a little sad, only because Arthur Millette had some good times with us. He played really well some seasons, but the injuries just kept him back. But overall, I think we didn't want those players. We let them go. Signing any of those players that I named, with the exception of Arthur Millette, would have been a bad decision, in my opinion. And Eric DeCosta has impressed me again by being patient, picking and choosing players for cheap prices, and still allows us to remain strong and let John Harbaugh and his coaching staff coach up, which they are good at doing as well, right? He's not overhauling the team year after year. And so I'm very happy about that. There were some players that did get signed for cheap prices that I was a little bummed about that we didn't sign them around the league. And I'll mention those in a different video. But we are going to move on to the next phase of free agency, round 2, as they may say. So you guys let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with my grades? Thanks, and go Ravens.